This is a follow-up to a video I put out on breathing and active breathing methods. So the issue that I posed in the previous video, and I'll link to it at the end here, is that the massive buildup of astral energy when it comes to breathwork is substantial. Now, most of those types of breathing, they involve different body locks after you've done, say, a hyperventilation stage, or maybe however you're playing with this. It builds up a lot of energy, and so locking that energy into the body has value for certain things, but as I mentioned, I found that it was deleterious to further and more refined spiritual work. And why is this? Because high-end spiritual work has to do with dissolving ourselves, merging, and when we're building all this energy actively, it's us doing a thing. So right from the get-go, we're increasing our perception of what we could say as a separation. And as we explore this further, what we find is that, what I found, was that starting off from that perspective, that's what the active breathing is, really pulls back on the ability to relinquish more and more fully and to merge more and more fully. And what does that mean, to merge? It means to let go of the identity that we perceive as us. So this has to do with pressure differentials, all right? Now, when we're doing active breathing, because we're pushing the air in and out, or pulling the air in and out, or pulling in hard and letting it go out naturally, or letting it come in naturally, pushing it out hard, however you're playing with this, there's so many different methods. When we're doing this, we're increasing pressure differentials. So we're creating an increase in polarity. And this is part of that feeling of tautness that comes through the body and through the field as that astral energy builds. So we are increasing pressure differential with active breathing. And especially when we start doing retentions, this becomes more and more obvious. So from a spiritual perspective, in terms of merging and unifying, the breathing that I found to be most useful is a breathing based off of surrender. So the entire breathing mechanism gets given up. We give up the breathing mechanism to the energy, the substrate, to the type of light that we're working with. Maybe it is a perspective of non-self that we give up the energy to, or sorry, that we give up the breath to, which has, that's a whole video in and of itself, is non-self. So maybe we give up the entire breathing apparatus of the entire system to some quality, some energy. And this I find to be the most useful. And it's not that the breathing itself is always the same, but it's also giving a little bit of respect to the innate breathing mechanisms, because the part of the mind that, and even like intercellularly, there's a type of intelligence that's really good at moderating the breath. And how it moderates the breath will change depending on what type of energy that we're working with. So sometimes the breath can almost disappear entirely, and we can be very soft and dispersed and omnipresent in a very soft way. Working with other types of connections, the breath can again almost disappear entirely, but we can be so full that it feels like an entirely different exercise. In other types of training, the breath, if we let the breathing happen, sometimes it goes into its own natural hyperventilation, its own natural breath hold. And a lot of this is innate types of traumas in relation to the breath, slowly working them their way out. But also, it's allowing this process, this mechanism, this intelligence of breathing to express itself uninterrupted by the impositions of the identity. And again, identity and non-self will be its own video, because there's a lot to look at there. Okay, so then of course you can explore, if you want to do the active breathing, you want to look at, is there a way to do this active breathing without imposing a pressure differential in terms of me, the self, and the greater space. And as we start exploring this, it's very, very important that we look at allowing the breath to occur. And this is quite tricky, because how do you allow yourself to hyperventilate? You're imposing hyperventilation. But in different circumstances, and in relation to different beings you might be working with that might, under their purview, if you're doing evocation, might be breath work and building energy, these intelligences can work the breath through you, through allowing the breath to come and go in a natural way. Natural is always changing. Again, it's circumstantial, because the breathing mechanism itself is very, very tuned and intelligent to maintain different acidity levels and oxygen and sciencey gases, inside the tissue and the blood. So there's a lot that goes on here. Now, one last thing I want to say on this is that when we are breathing and we're looking at pressure differentials and this polarity through active breathing, we can also have, through unification, a type of, I mentioned a big influx of energy. And what will start to happen is that we will begin to notice that while the air might almost stop, in some cases totally stop, there is a process of breathing that occurs. And if we can tap into this process of breath right from the beginning, from that initial source, as my friend Michael Lamb likes to say, breathe. The breath is the first thing that we do when we are born. It's the last thing that we do before we die. There's this aspect of breathing that is very, very deeply connected to a spark of life. So as we wait and we allow this process of breathing to occur, there's an entire energetic type of breath in relation to the spark of life and light that can start flowing in and out of us, almost in the absence, and sometimes fully in the absence, of air moving in and out. So this is, to me, a very advanced type of breathing, because we can't force this. It has to be part of just allowing this whole process to occur and giving the entire breathing mechanism, apparatus, and process up to the emergence with the energy or the light or in some cases, a concept that has correlational energies to it, giving this process up to that. Anyway, hope you found this helpful. Take care. Bye.